Rachamana Liba means Hashem desires we do a mitzvah with our heart. Yet we are also taught that hama'aseh hua ikar, action is the most important thing. How do these both coincide?
This is a question in Chassidus. It's not a question in Yiddishkeit, it's a question in Chassidus. The Baal Shem Tov's most famous slogan is Rachamana Liba boy. Our Rebbe's most famous slogan is hama'aseh. And the Rebbe goes as far as to say that the Alter Rebbe already said it. In other words, the Rebbe doesn't argue that he's creating or inventing this emphasis, but it's always been that way. And the truth of the matter is that these two ideas, which are both axioms, cornerstones of the Hasidic approach, are contradictory. Rachamana Liba boy is the exact opposite of hama'aseh hua ikar. What is the meaning of Rachamana Liba? What does that phrase mean? That phrase means that the Eibishter is interested in emes. And emes is very subjective, it's very personal. A person can be a very big lamdan, and a very big mahader b'mitzvahs, very frum, and there's a lack of emes for a lot of reasons. Number one, he's doing it lisyad, he wants people to see. Number two, he's not so genuine in it. In other words, inside of himself, he doubts it. Or number three, considering his madrege, he could be doing much more. And a simple Yid is doing Yiddishkeit on a simple level. He doesn't know a lot and he's not that frum, but what he does comes from the etzem haneshama. There's a famous story with the Baal Shem Tov that in the middle of the Seder he laughed. Before his Baal Shem Tov mitten Seder, Allah Keton. He laughed in the middle of his Seder, what happened? There was a couple who had no idea how to make a Seder, and the two of them sat down, and they drank 4 cups of wine, and they ate the kazayis matzah, they ate the kazayis mora, they ate the keder, the shulchan aruch. That's it. They ate and drank, didn't know what else to do. So naturally they were quite shikir. So he got up and he danced with his wife. And the Baal Shem Tov saw this. And the Baal Shem Tov saw the incredible nachas ruach that the Eibishter had l'mayla from this. Now that's not how you make a Seder. But in this Seder there was more emes than in many Sedarim that are done with incredible order, and with incredible patience, and incredible deliberateness, and so on and so forth. And that's the point of Rachamana Liba boy, that the Baal Shem Tov was looking for the Negudas HaEmes. And the Baal Shem Tov argued that in a simple Nepshitas from a Yid Poshut, from a Ish Poshut, the line the Pshitas HaAtzmas, oftentimes the simplest people are the closest to the truth. And then expression in Yiddish, a bissel wenige klug is nentet zum emes. A little bit less of a smart aleck, a lot closer to the truth. That's the meaning of Rachamana Liba boy. That's what it means. What is the meaning of hama'aseh hua ikar? The meaning of hama'aseh hua ikar is a very simple thing. When you do an act that the Eibishter said, there is only one reason that you do it. Because Hashem said. In no level of the neshama is there the kind of submission, the kind of bittul. Putting aside your wish for the wish of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like when you're doing an action. You could do something else and you're doing what the Eibishter says. Alter Rebbe says in Tanya Perek Mamalach, this is one of the most underemphasized pieces of the whole Tanya. For some reason, the Rebbe talked about it a lot, but you don't hear Mashpim for bringing about it much. Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, any time any Jew does any mitzvah, it's an act of Mesiras Nefesh. Mesiras Nefesh. He brings that in Alakai Neshama, any time you do any mitzvah, it's Mesiras Nefesh. Why? Because I could have done something else. And I chose to do what you wanted. And in that act, there's a great sacrifice. So hama'aseh hua ikar has within itself an aspect of submission where I'm basically putting God before me. I'm doing what He wants as opposed to what I want. So hama'aseh hua ikar is not heart, it's not pnimius, it's not what I feel and what I experience, but it's emes. There's more emes in hama'aseh hua ikar than in anything else. And of course there's another aspect to that. And that is that in hama'aseh hua ikar is emes on one level because from the perspective of the person, I'm doing what Hashem wants rather than what I want, and that's emes. But in terms of the effect that it has on the world, the idea that you take a physical thing and use it in the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is also the ultimate emes, because you're bringing the Eibusha to the lowest madrege. So there's a very big difference between the Baal Shem Tov slogan, Rachamana Liba boy, and the Rebbe's obsession, absolute obsession, with Leiha Medrash Shikirela hama'aseh. Because in the Rebbe's world, the only thing that matters is action. And in the Baal Shem Tov's language, all he's looking for is a little emes in the heart. But the Rebbe is saying the same thing the Baal Shem Tov is saying. The deepest emes in the heart is available in a ma'aseh. Or if I can use it in a different language. We live in an age that Yidden and Nebuch so estranged, and Yidden are so disconnected, that they don't even know what to feel. They don't even know that there is a thing of feeling, elikus, emes. And the Rebbe says, meet such a Jew and do a mitzvah with him, a physical act. And you think that physical act is meaningless. But that physical act is the deepest expression of emes that Yid can muster. And it is the quickest way, it's the shortest route between that person's consciousness and his midas emes and his Rachamana Liba boy. The Baal Shem Tov was talking to Yidden who were very involved, but they were simple. He says, look at the inside and the outside. The Rebbe says, you meet Yidden who don't even know there's a neshama. They don't even know there's elikus. Do a mitzvah. In that action, you open up the Liba, which Rachmana boy, about which the Baal Shem Tov spoke about, like nothing more, nothing else in the universe. It's a story which is in the previous Rebbe's letters, Igeris Kedesh, where he tells a story of a chassid of the Alter Rebbe and the Mittel Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedek, whose name was Rabbi Isaac Homler, Yitzchak Isaac Halevi Epstein Mehommel. He was Elter Chassid, a great chassid. He was probably older than the Mittel Rebbe. He was much older than the Tzemach Tzedek. Yet the Tzemach Tzedek was the Rebbe and he was the chassid. The Tzemach Tzedek sent him once on a shlichus to the holy Yerushalayim, Yisrael Yerushalayim, who was 7 years younger than the Tzemach Tzedek. So Isaac Homler was probably 25 years his senior. But Rabbi Eisel was no fool. Rabbi Eisel understood that age is not an issue when you're talking about a tzaddik elyon, a shtik fire, a shtik yetlach. So when he spent his Shabbos in Ruzhin, he made a decision. And the decision was that he would pay attention with his ein pekicha, with his very precise capacity to notice, to every hanhag of the Heilig Yerushalayim, to learn all kinds of inyonim. And he came back to Lubavitch and repeated many stories which have become a part of Chabad lore about the Heilig Yerushalayim Rebbe. And one of the things that happened that weekend was Sunday morning. The Seder by the Yerushalayim Rebbe was that he didn't have a regular gabbai. Instead, he had what was called a makurev. A makurev was really a rotation. Regular chassidim took turns, each one got a certain number of weeks, where they acted in lieu of the gabbai, and then they would take turns. That's how it was. Sunday had to get private. Sunday was a tish. Chassidim came, and each one presented himself to the Yerushalayim Rebbe, and the makurev was in between. You had to bring your issue to the makurev, who had presented to the Yerushalayim Rebbe, and it was done in public. Two of the chassidim both wrote svarim, and they wanted haskamas, they wanted approval, they wanted copyright protection from the Yerushalayim Rebbe, which is what haskamas were in those days. So the Makurev announces that the Heilig Yerushalayim, two chassidim wrote svarim. One wrote a sefer of Chedushay Torah, Lamdis, and the other wrote a sefer of Sipurei Tzadikim, stories of Tzadikim. Now, if you could imagine what it means, a sefer of Lamdis 200 years ago, it must have been extraordinary goyness. Not like today, yeah? So the Yerushalayim says to the Makurev, read from the Sefer of Sipurei Tzadikim. So he reads some stories, and the Yerushalayim comments on the stories he reads and tells a few other stories of his own. And then the Yerushalayim says, now read from the Sefer of Chedushay Torah. So the Makurev began to read, and he read a little bit, and the Yerushalayim began to expound on the Chedushay Torah with great go'inus, great chrifus and kiyas. And then he told the Makurev to write two haskamas, two letters of approbation, of approval, which he signed. And the Rabbi Eisel Homler was a bit surprised, because to write a book of stories is not that big a deal, you just compile. Chedushay Torah, this is Yigaitu Matzasatam and Hasken Atzmach Halul Mei Torah Sheni Yerush Allah. It's incredible effort. So why would the Ruzhner give precedence to a book of Sipuri Chasidim, Sipuri Tzadikim, over a Sefer of Chiddushei Torah? Now the Ruzhner Rebbe did not need to be asked. He knew everything that was happening in his Daled Amos. So he says, without the question being raised, Der Litwische Gaon is a Wunder. The Lithuanian genius is wondering. Chabad, Lubavitch is a Litwische Chassidus. Rabbi Ezel was a Litwische, he was Epi Hommel. A Litwische Gaon is wondering why we placed first emphasis on this Sefer of Sipurei Tzadikim, of stories of Tzadikim, and only afterwards on the Sefer of Chiddushei Torah. He says, but we learned from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from the Eibishter himself, that when he wrote his Sefer, the Torah, first comes Sefer HaYosher, which is a Sefer Bereshis, which is the Ma'aseh of Yeshorim, the story of the Avis, Ha'elam, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yankov, and so on, and only afterwards comes the Mitzvah of the Torah. So we did the same thing. First we emphasized, we celebrated the Sipurei Tzadikim, and then we kochzach in the Sefer of Lamdas, because Sipurei Tzadikim are Midas and Deis, Midas Tevis and Deis Nachenes, and of course, like it says also, it's Seides HaTeira found in Sipurei Tzadikim. So the stories of the Tzadikim may not overtly be involved in Limud HaTeira, but what they give us in terms of revealing within ourselves a sense of the Eibishter makes Shimusha Shal Teira Gedela Milimudam.